Good morning. Another cold, rainy day. This whole week is actually supposed to be really cold and really wet. So, par for the course for this trip, it seems. Seems to be. We got blessed with some nice days, and then that was all we're getting. So I've got a mile walk down to where the Grand Portage starts. It's like 6 miles down the Grand Portage, and then I'll be on Lake Meog and heading down towards Vermont. I really hope the weather is decent and that lake is manageable and not just a complete nightmare, but we'll see when we get there, I guess. At least it's not hot for the uphill 6 mile portage, so gotta look on the bright side of things, I suppose. So. Well, I made it to what I assume is the top of the Grand Portage. It was no joke. I'm fine with hills when they kind of flatten out and then they take a break and then they go back up and then they go down. But I was just straight up for a while. That was tough. Yeah, and I'm like, it was super cold this morning, so I'm very much over layered. So I'm sweating pretty good right now, even though it's only like 40 degrees out. But yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that when it's real hot. So yeah, thankfully, I think I get to go downhill the rest of the way now to the lake. So gonna enjoy that. I saw a couple blips of blue sky through the clouds, so I don't know if that's going to break up today or not, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Made it down to Lake Meog. So I've got like 12 miles to Newport going that way, thankfully. So I'll have the wind at my back, and I'm just gonna hug the shoreline the whole time that way. If the wind gets too rowdy, at least I'm on the shore, so. But it should push me along pretty well, so. It actually looks like it might, based on the hourly forecast, it actually might lighten up a little bit, so. Bring it on. We'll work our way down to Newport and see how it goes. It's a little dicier out here than I thought. Got some pretty big waves that are just kind of carrying me. I'm sure it doesn't look that impressive on my phone, but they're definitely breaking. And it gets a little sketchy sometimes. The wind will pick up and it'll really throw you for a loop. You can see out in the middle. So I'm just trying to hug the shore as best I can and just ride it down. It's gonna be, I say it's gonna take a while, but it is pushing me pretty good. But I'm really not even paddling that much. I'm just trying to steer. So we'll get there eventually, hopefully, but a little hairy, not gonna lie. See it, but I've never seen this before. There's like thousands of swallows or something, some type of bird, just skimming. I don't know if the strong winds that we're having are like stirring up some bugs or something off the lake, but they're going crazy right now. This is kind of cool to see. I've never seen this before. Good morning. Starting my day with another busy road walk. The Clyde River is kind of behind the motel that I was staying at, and I could have gone down the hill and put in there, but again, it's more upstream. We got more rain, and there's a couple portages in that section anyway that I was gonna have to get out for, so I figured I'd just stick to the road and go past all those, go down to the town of Derby and put in the pond there and actually have some flat water to paddle for a little bit, and then try the river on that end. We'll see how it goes, but trying to get done with all the upstream stuff today. Man, this is crazy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to touch any of this stuff today. These river sections are just gnarly. There's just so much water coming through there. I'm not fighting that all day. I'll try to put in the pond up here. When it dives into the river, I'm just gonna have to make the decision then, I guess, if I'm even gonna attempt any of the river sections or if I'm gonna walk all of them, but it doesn't look fun. Made it down to Lake Salem. So I gotta head up that way into the wind a little bit and dive into the Clyde River up there and see how that looks. There's a portage around some pretty heavy rapids up there in the town of Charleston, I think. It goes to Charleston Pond. And then down to Pensioner Pond, and I mean, I guess I'm just gonna have to make a decision there on if I stay out for a while and just keep walking, or if I keep trying the river. I don't know. At some point it might become paddleable, but everything I've seen just looks absolutely terrible to try to go upstream on, so we'll see how it goes. I'll enjoy this little pond paddle, I guess, across here and see what it looks like when we get over there. Man, Mother Nature's really testing me right now. What is this? Upstream and upwind. What a fun day. Well, I guess he's back on the road. I might be trying to be a purist for this trip by not taking shuttles or assistance, anything like that. But I'm not a masochist. I'm not going to sit there and try to paddle going half a mile an hour against the current and against the wind and make zero progress. So on this road, I'm going to portage down to Pensioner Pond and try again there, see what happens. See how it goes. I guess I get some pretty walks sometimes. Made it down to Pensioner Pond. Gonna try to put in here and go that way and try the Clyde again. I don't know if that's foolish or not, but find out when we get there. Well, this is certainly the best I've seen it look. Hopefully it stays this way. If it does, I'm here for it. Sun's actually shining for the first time in like what feels like an eternity, so. I'm not gonna lie, this upstream stuff's for the birds. Not really having fun. I'll put my head down and just paddle like I'm in the Olympics for a couple minutes. And I'll look up and I'll look to the side at the shore and I'm like 10 feet in front of where I started. Holy slow going. At least it's nice out, not gonna lie. We'll take that, but man, I'm in this little like calm pocket over here. It doesn't look like it's moving that fast, and you look down at like the vegetation under the water and it's just getting yanked. So with my boat as low as it sits, it's just like a underwater sail for the undercurrent, and it just kind of pulls you. We're gonna get there, but whoo, it's gonna be a workout. Oh man, I'm getting off this as soon as humanly possible. This is nuts. Look how quick that's moving. I'm making like zero progress. And I'm killing myself in the process. Again, it doesn't, like, you look out here and you're like, oh, it doesn't look like that bad, you know? But man, that's what I'm up against. It's tough. There's a bridge up here eventually, and with like a boat launch on it, and I think I'm just gonna pull out there and walk the rest of the way. This is not for me. Not for me. Well, I had enough of that. At least I can say I tried it, but that was not fun. It just took me a little over 2 hours to go, because the road up here where I'm going is the road that I went in on Pensioner Pond. It just took me over 2 hours to go 3 miles. So, like, not quick and not fun. And that's without stopping or taking breaks and just fighting the current. There's so many S-turns, it just weaves back and forth, and you try to make a turn and you have to slow down and it just moves you backwards. Just not for me. So I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon just walking to Island Pond. I'm going to try to stay at the state park campground over there, and we'll go downstream tomorrow. As pretty as it is, I think I'll just keep walking. Almost Island Pond. I got like a mile to go.
Probably just gonna grab another motel tonight. There's 2 campsite type camping places on the lake. One of them doesn't open until Memorial Day, and the other one's kind of overpriced just to throw a tent on the ground. So I might as well get a nice hotel where I can get another shower. And the one I was looking at's got a nice tavern attached to it, so get some good food after another long day of walking. I can tell you what, I'm gonna sit down tonight and I'm gonna total up how many miles I've walked since I started this trip, because it's a lot. So I'm curious to know what that number is. Funny enough, the trail actually goes through there. I don't think I'd be fitting. Good morning. Starting out with a walk again. I was right on the pond there, but the wind is ripping across so hard. I'd be paddling into the wind for a mile, then I'd have to get out and strap on the wheels and do a little portage, and then paddle for another mile and get out and strap on the wheels and do another portage. So I'm just gonna walk there, and it's only a couple miles, so we'll walk around the lake instead of paddling into the wind. And then we'll be on the Nulhegan for, I don't know, 8 miles or so. And then I gotta get out at a bridge before a bunch of really nasty whitewater. And then portage down to the cabin I have for the night, so we'll get after it. Well, that's where the last portage coming out of Spectacle Pond would have came out to this road. And then I'd be walking anyway. Made it down to the Nulhegan. So I go up here into Nulhegan Pond, and then I'm in the Nulhegan River for several hours, just kind of like the Clyde, winding back and forth, but this time downstream, so that'll be nice. With that portage I just did this morning, I'm now over 300 miles into the trail, and I've also walked over 100 miles of that, which is kind of crazy, but I mean, you can't predict the weather. It's easy when you plan a trip to think that it's going to be sunny and 75 every day, but this spring has just been so wet and so cold, and there's so much water in the rivers that there's not much you can do about it. But let this be an example to anyone who ever wants to do the trail, to just know that this is a possibility. Next week looks super nice. It'll be nice to get up into Maine and be in some of the bigger lakes that have an abundance of campsites, and stop staying in motels and be off the roadway for a while. So definitely looking forward to that. Are otters? Maybe they're otters. I feel bad I'm kind of cutting them off. It seems crazy to me that this river eventually turns into what the guidebook says is experts only boulder gardens through a gorge that's imperative that you take out beforehand. It just seems fun. It's such a shallow, sandy little stream that turns into something so crazy. I've got a bit of a traffic jam because these two and their little baby won't just move off to the side. There's nothing I can do. Keep yelling at me. I love the fact that I'm supposed to go through here. This is fun. I made it to the bridge I need to take out at to avoid all the nasty whitewater, boulder gardens, etc., etc. So hop out here and start walking again. I cannot begin to express how cold it is. I think it was supposed to be a high of like 38 today. And the wind just keeps ripping with that nor'easter coming through. And it is miserable. My fingers are numb. My nose is cold. It's rough. I'm staying at, there's a Vermont company that manages a bunch of huts and cabins and stuff. And they have one up here on the Nulhegan that was available for tonight. So I actually ended up getting that. Because I don't want to stay in a tent in this. That just sounds awful. It's supposed to, there's a chance of snow tonight. So that cabin, it's a small little thing, but it's got a wood stove in it. So I'm actually looking forward to getting that going and warming up in there for the evening. Oh, well, it's cold and rainy out there. I'm nice and cozy in here. Sitting down reading my books, sitting by the nice wood stove. Kind of a sweet little place. I'd stay here again. Morning. Well, I'm all packed up, had breakfast. I'm really just waiting for a break in the rain to get out and get onto the Connecticut River and go downstream towards Groveton, New Hampshire. It's gonna be a wet one regardless, but I'd love to stay here, but I can't. It's booked for the next couple nights. But I did have a good night last night, slept well. Wood stove stayed going, kept it nice and toasty in here, so no complaints, that's for sure. My only complaint is that I have to leave. I gotta go out in the rain. It is cold, so I'm gonna bundle up and try to stay as dry as possible. And I don't really know where I'm gonna land tonight, but we'll find something. I made it to the Connecticut River that divides Vermont and New Hampshire, and it is moving downstream. I want to make some good time today. This will be nice. So this river is actually part of another dedicated trail, the Connecticut River, that you can take from pretty much the Canadian border at the top of New Hampshire all the way down to the tidewaters in Connecticut. I think it's like 400 miles or so. Definitely something I wouldn't mind doing in the future. Maybe next year, we'll see. Finally reached my juncture. The Connecticut River continues this way all the way till the Atlantic Ocean in Connecticut. And I'm going upstream this way on the upper Ammonoosuc for a little bit until I hit a dam, and then I gotta take out and portage into the town of Groveton, where I'm gonna go to a grocery store, top off on some of my stuff, and figure out where the heck I'm going tonight. Let's go back to some upstream paddling. I am sweating. This is so hard. I'm trying to fight against this, man. I know we're on the bottom side of a dam, but if this is what all the upstream stuff for New Hampshire looks like too, well, I guess I'll be walking to Maine. This is crazy. Whew. Making progress. Had enough of that. Pulled out of there early. I just got a bushwhack through here, and there's a dirt road that the power company must use for the dam. So I yanked all my stuff up this hill. I found this tiny little eddy because I imagine this is going to get worse as you get close to the dam. So, and the takeout that you're supposed to take out is like right next to it. There's no way I was even going to get close. So I took this one shot that I had. So just got to get over to that road and portage into town. Well, I got my grocery shopping done. I'm now taking some shelter under the covered bridge in Groveton. So it's early-ish still. It's kind of early afternoon. There's really no lodging in this town, and it is cold and wet. And I don't really feel like pitching a tent again tonight either. So there's a bed and breakfast that I know some through paddlers stay at that's up the road here in Stark. So I called the owner, and she said she has a room available, and that's where I'm going to shoot for. So that's a 7-mile road walk, but you know what? At least when I'm walking, I'm warm. So pretty chilly. Next week looks like 70s and sunny every day. So really looking forward to that. But yep, we'll get going. Start walking 7 miles. Yeah, that is also why I'm walking. I forgot there's a couple of roads. Well, that's the bed and breakfast I'll be staying at tonight here in Stark. Just coming through another covered bridge. And it's probably safe to say
I'm not paddling up that tomorrow. So time to go get some rest because I'm going to have a lot more walking to do.